This is Tall Tale TV, your podcast for sci-fi and fantasy short stories. The Artifacts by Rick Kennett. Amid a blaze of red and blue constellations, only two of the planet's 3 moons stood in the sky the night the woman with the sliding face entered Emendap's curio shop. The door opened with a dull clack of its bell, and Emendap unbent himself from his corner behind the counter. His whiskers twitched, and his triangular eyes gleamed with avarice as he watched the man and the woman step from the dark of the alley and into the light of the shop. He had seen the man on a previous visit some days before, remembered his cape of subdued hues and the finely combed dark fur of his face and hands bespeaking money. He called himself Aubrey, son of Brigid of the Southern Islands, and had said he was searching the shops and bazaars to the east of the Yundu Expanse for curious artifacts on behalf of people he did not specify. The woman was new to Emendap, unusually short, a little more than half Aubrey's height. Her tawny fur was wrong somehow, perhaps an unnatural hue, perhaps lifeless, and lacking the luster which should have matched her full-length cloak of azure. It was evident she was an outlander. She had the mannerisms and quick, nervous movements of a foreigner in a foreign land. Her hands were always mobile, and in the brief moment after entering, were raised twice to her face, as if trying to keep it from sliding off, and once she prodded at her left eye, in a way that made Emendap wince. Without a word, without a glance at the shopkeeper, exhibiting the rudeness and ignorance Emendap had come to expect of outlanders, she moved to the glass-top cabinets in the body of the shop and examined their contents. Their small, dark bottles, their boxes of light, the objects of parceled shapes and colors, some seething slightly, some making faint gurgles and ticks, dead animals and live machinery, worked flecks of sunshine, delicate sculptures of wood and twists of sand. Aubrey, son of Brigid of the Southern Islands, stepped up face to furry face with the proprietor and said with perfect business formality, "What have you today, Emendap?" "What do I not, Aubrey?" he replied in likewise tone, forgetting the ill manners of the woman and baring his fangs in an ingratiating smile. "The glowing jewel? It has been some days. I thought you were not returning."
"The lady has far to travel. Is it still here?"
"It is still here, if you are still interested."
"The lady is interested."
Emendap glanced over Aubrey's lowered head to where the woman was pacing along the row of cabinets, stepping deeper into the gloom of the shop. Even from that distance, and with her fluttering hands constantly adjusting her face, it was plain she was just browsing with a purpose.
"Of particular interest," Aubrey continued, raising his head abruptly, "is how it sometimes shines with a pale, soft light, and is sometimes warm in the hand. You said the jewel is of unknown origins, but you must have some inkling. Traders such as yourself are too shrewd to buy blind."
Emendap hesitated, then said,
"The one who sold me the jewel told of its findings in the depths of the Yundu Expanse, surrounded by other artifacts scattered widely about. Why should I disbelieve? Things like the glowing jewel, things that should not be, have been turning up in recent years. Pieces of unknown metals and substances, mechanisms and bits of mechanisms whose purpose our most learned scholars and savants cannot ponder."
"Where are they found? Here in the East?"
"In many places, lying along sea beaches, embedded in the dead heart of the Yundu Expanse, wedged high up in jungle trees. The first were found, so it is said, in city streets and on rooftops, and that they were hot to the touch. I have heard of a chair of metal and ragged upholstery seen upright and driven deep into the sand in a ghoul-infested desert to the west, and that there was an uncouth and dwarfish corpse strapped into it. It was without fur over most of its body, and the eyes were ovid in shape."
Aubrey's triangular eyes widened.
"What became of this corpse?"
Emendap smiled coldly.
I did say it was a ghoul-infested desert. He shrugged and added, Perhaps the chair is yet there, hammered deep into the sand.
Aubrey glanced over his shoulder at the woman down among the cabinets. She had stopped her prowling and was studying the contents of one particular glass case, having shown no reaction to the bizarre revelations of desert chair, ghouls, and corpse. Emendap also watched her, deciding she either did not regard their conversation or she did not know the language of Eastern Yundu.
"These artifacts," said Aubrey, turning back, shifting slightly and blocking Emendap's view of the woman, "are said to be often unlucky to those who possess them."
Emendap's pointed ears twitched.
Unlucky?
"They are reputed to bring fire and sickness, madness and death."
You know my price, Aubrey. I will not lower it. If you do not wish to buy it, others will, and for the same money, or perchance more.
"I was not haggling, merely repeating what I have heard."
Your pardon.
"But it is true, is it not, that for all their mystery, or perhaps because of it, these fabulous items generate fear?"
Some, the superstitious and the foolish, say they bring bad luck, and others believe they attract the attention of...
Emendap paused, looking for the right word.
Entities wishing to retrieve...
A sharp intake of breath from the back of the shop interrupted him. He looked up in surprise and alarm. The woman was leaning far over the cabinet, her short stature causing her to almost climb onto it with her face against the glass. The pale glow of the jewel within pulsing on her oddly hued fur. For a moment she hung thus. Then, pushing back, straightening up, and clamping a hand to her left eye, too late to prevent a triangular marble to fall glittering to the floor, she tapped the glass top of the cabinet insistently, and voiced a stream of words alien to the ears of Emendap, the shopkeeper. Alien in timbre, and tone, and vocalization. Alien to that entire world, and muffled as if coming from behind a mask. Emendap blinked. Had he glimpsed bare skin under her upraised hand beneath her sliding face? And within the open eye socket an orb ovid in shape? The woman scooped up her fallen eye and raced from the shop, a blue blur into the dark of the alley and gone, the clack of the bell drowned by the slam of the door. Emendap looked at Aubrey. Aubrey looked at Emendap, impassive. Coin was passed across the counter. When Emendap handed him the glowing jewel from the cabinet, Aubrey took it gently, carefully, as one who handles something that might explode at any moment. The deal was concluded by the customary stroking of each other's face fur. Then Aubrey hurriedly followed his companion out into the night. Rick Kennett has 5 books on Amazon, 2 novellas, The Devil in the Deep Blue Sea, and Presumed Dead, a novella, In Quinn's Paddock, and 2 collections, The Dark and What It Said, and 30 Minutes for New Hell. He will also have a brand new anthology coming out in about 2 weeks' time. War of the Worlds, Battleground Australia, is set to launch on June 10th. In addition, he recently had his story Presumed Dead serialized by the podcast Cast of Wonders, which is free to listen to on their website. Links in the description. For those who don't know, Rick Kennett is a longtime supporter of Tall Tale TV and has had his stories appear on it numerous times. I love his work, which ranges from horror to cringeworthingly hilarious. I'll leave a link in the description to where you can find all his submitted stories in one place. You'll laugh, you'll groan, and you will definitely be entertained. As always, be sure to subscribe. You can find the show on YouTube, Facebook, iTunes, and just about every podcast app available. I'm Chris Herron, and that's it for today's Tall Tale TV.